The number 1 seed didn't lead for a single second in their playoff opener and got walked down by a team that we didn't expect to have a head coach at this point in the season.
Oh my God!
The NBA playoffs are back, guys. And let me tell you, this entire weekend was cinema. There were some boring and dull games in between for sure. That was expected. But overall, I think we got a pretty good goddamn first week of the playoffs. Now, I made a preview on the playoffs, breaking down each individual series. And there were definitely some things after game 1 that I was not expecting to happen. The main thing being the Magic going into Orlando, walking the boys down, and not even allowing them to lead for the entire game.
Huh?
And I watched that game, and I wouldn't even say that Orlando just was like on fire. They played a great game, but the way that they handled Detroit and really just how much energy that Orlando Magic team came out with, this looks like a completely different team. Then you have the Lakers sitting up here beating the Rockets when we found out last minute that Kevin Durant wasn't going to be playing. The Raptors and the Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell goes for 32. This weekend was electric, to say the least. This weekend was electric, and naturally, bro, the first game I have to talk about has to be the Magic versus the Pistons.
Yes, sir!
Now, the Magic versus the Pistons, when coming into this series, here's what you have to realize. When we talk about the Magic, bro, the Magic were one of the most disappointing teams this entire season. I had them coming in as like a top 3 seed. I love the move for Desmond Bane. I was bought into whatever Jamal Mosley was going to be able to do with that team. I was all in on the Magic this season. I thought that they were going to be fucking amazing, and they disappointed me. Then you go on the play-in. They lose their first game to the 76ers, but they end up beating the Charlotte Hornets, where, granted, they looked very similar to the team that they looked like yesterday, but I'm not taking none of that shit serious. I'm going to assume that you're going to be who you were this entire season. That's just how I operate, bro. You show me who you was this season, though I'm going to take it as that going to the playoffs. But yesterday, they go up against the Detroit Pistons, and damn.
I ain't never, ever seen you act like this before.
Bro, Paolo Banchero, first of all, he was very dominant all game long. And dominant, when you look at the stat line, I'm not saying he put up like 40, 50 points or something crazy like that, but just how in control he was all game. He had moments where he was very patient. He was surveying the defense, and that allowed him to sit up here and make some of the tough buckets that we don't like to see him take, but he made them bitches yesterday. But then he was diamond as well. He had one little just, Wendell Carter Jr. tells him to throw it up because Jalen Duren is sagged up off him. Throws that bitch up. Wendell dunks the ball. And that's just the type of shit that the Magic were on yesterday. Paolo, he was operating his offense with high efficiency, although like that offense is not a great watch. And that's the reason why they struggle, because they have one of the most stagnant offenses in the entire NBA. Paolo made it work yesterday. He created advantages for himself. He was making shots for himself. He created advantages for his teammates. He was making threes, pull-ups, mid-ranges, turnarounds. Paolo Banchero did his thing, but of course it wasn't just him. Jalen Suggs, I have to shout out him. Defensively, he was amazing. He was locked down. He gave you the energy that you needed. He was being Jalen fucking Suggs, and he played amazing. Desmond Bane, I saw at times he had the ball in his hands. He was making shots. This is what this Magic team, what I thought this Magic team was going to look like when they had first made this trade for Desmond Bane. This is what I thought I was going to get throughout this season. Now, they decided to wait until the playoffs to do it, which, I mean, I can't be too mad at, right? What is the better time to play well than the fucking playoffs? But god damn, man. You gonna play ass the entire season and then finally turn up in the playoffs? Regardless. He played well. Franz Wagner, he turned up in that fourth quarter. He had like 10 points by himself after having 8 points throughout the entire game. So, overall, the Magic look really well. I think the concerning thing for the Pistons is I think they still can pull it out, but this is a real series now. The Magic have shown that this is not that same Magic team that they were throughout the season. They could come out whenever game 2 is and just look completely different, but let me tell you right now, Detroit Pistons have to lock in. And honestly, the Pistons struggled because the only person who was able to create any type of advantages to create and score was Cade Cunningham. And this is something that we knew the Pistons were going to struggle with. This is a thing that I have been saying, a multitude of people have been saying for years, has to change if the Pistons want to become legit contenders. You have to get another creator next to Cade. We thought it was going to be Jalen Ivey. Unfortunately, it wasn't him. Jalen Duren has showed flashes of that being him, but I don't think he has the ball handling chops to be able to do something like that, or the quick decisiveness. I just don't think he has it to be a legit secondary creator next to Cade. And then you look at the rest of that team, they don't really have anybody else to do that. Yesterday was apparent. They had to sub in Dennis Jenkins for Asar Thompson, Defensive Player of the Year finalist Asar Thompson, just so they could get somebody else who could just create something on the offensive side of the ball. Cade Cunningham drives, the Magic are crashing down, Cade passes the ball, and it's like fucking hot potato out there, bro. They don't know what to do with the ball. Tobias Harris missed a couple of very key threes that really would have helped them a lot. Jalen Duren shook ass all game long. Had a horrible game. And so, yeah, the Magic played really well, but for the Pistons, shit, if Cade didn't do anything, and Cade, he had like 30, but it was clear Cade got kind of gassed down the line. Dennis Jenkins, I mean, he can only do so much. He's not Cade Cunningham. The Detroit Pistons started to falter. They started to kind of stumble a little bit, and by the time the game was over, the Magic had took advantage, and they ended up winning. Now, since I'm already here at Sunday, I might as well talk about the rest of these games. They really didn't have much significance to them, right? Like you have the Celtics versus 76ers. The Celtics dominated them from the tip, bro. They won by 32 points. The Celtics were the fucking Celtics. And on the bright side, Jason Tatum has been looking better. I'd say like this is probably one of the better games he's had since he's come back, just from an overall productivity standpoint. But yeah, it's not much shit to talk about this game. The 76ers got their ass kicked. The same thing with the Thunder versus the Suns. The Thunder are just better. J-Dub is looking like J-Dub again, I will say. And if J-Dub is able to look like the all-NBA and all-defensive caliber player that he was last year, it's scary hours for the entire West. Thunder just dominated the Suns like all game long. It was not much that the Suns could do to try to combat the size that the Thunder had, the scoring ability from Shea and then J-Dub, and then Chet even had got he had a buzzer beater in there, if I'm not mistaken. Suns didn't stand a chance, truth be told. And then you had the last game, the Spurs versus the Trailblazers. Hey, the only thing that I can say about that is Victor Wembanyama is 100% like that, bro. 35 points. His presence and his just ability to scare defenders. Defenders don't even want to drive in the paint. There was one time where Drew Holiday has the ball, drives, has a defender on his hip, cool. Victor Wembanyama is in the paint, and Drew Holiday passes the ball just because he saw Vic in the paint. There was another time where Shaedon Sharpe, one of the most athletic guys in the league, has to throw a floater up to fucking who knows up there in the sky just so he could get over Vic. Vic is such an intimidating presence, and although the Trailblazers tried their best, Scoot Henderson had a decent game, that just was not enough. It wasn't enough, and they end up losing. The Blazers end up losing to the Spurs. Saturday, however, was way more entertaining, and it started off with a decent little game. The Cavaliers versus the Raptors. When I was previewing this series, I was talking about how I think the Cavaliers will win this like pretty handily, but the Raptors have the ability to make it interesting. With the way Scotty Barnes has been playing this season, with the all defensive caliber play, one could argue all NBA caliber play. He's on my all NBA team, and then you have Brandon Ingram, how he has played as well. The Raptors have had a pretty good season. Although I think they'll lose to the Cavs, they definitely have some people who can make this interesting, but in game one, none of that shit mattered.
Well, shit.
James Harden came out and he was controlling the traffic, exactly like how we thought he was. The big thing behind that Darius Garland trade is that we all realized how good Darius Garland was as a player. All-star caliber player, put up 50, all that cool shit. But James Harden, one of the things that made him better than Darius Garland, amongst other things, was the fact that he was going to be able to play. James Harden having the ability to actually be out there on the floor and play just helps you out so much. Because Donovan Mitchell, now he doesn't have to worry about being the main ball handler, having to have the ball in his hands all the time. And James Harden came out there and he started off the game very controlling the traffic, floor general-esque in the James Harden kind of way. And that's one of the big things that propelled the Cavs to such a strong start in this game. And then Donovan Mitchell obviously ended up catching up. He finished with 32 points, and he was amazing. And I think a lot of this success that he had also came from the fact that he didn't have to deal with as much defensive pressure that he usually has to deal with. With Darius Garland not playing and not being out there on the floor, now teams know they can focus on Donovan Mitchell because he is their primary and sometimes the only ball handler that is out there on the floor for the Cavaliers. But nah, bud, you got James Harden right next to you, twin. You got OG right next to you. You don't got to worry about all of that. And then James Harden was able to create advantages for Mobley and Jared Allen, and this is amazing. But then for the Raptors, I mean, here's where it gets kind of scary, because Scotty Barnes, he tried his best. He came out, hit a couple shots, but the Raptors haven't been that strong shooting of a team, and the Cavs were like, yo, shoot the ball, and they tried to shoot it. Didn't go very well. And then defensively, they weren't able to lock up. I mean, the Cavs scored 126 points on them. They were not able to neutralize the Cavaliers. RJ Barrett, who's usually like a decent defender, wasn't able to lock anything down. Scotty Barnes, he was trying his best, but like shit, it's like pick your poison. You want James Harden to go off, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared, like who do you want to go off? And it was clear that the Raptors had struggled to adjust to all of the different things that the Cavaliers could present and all the threats that they had on the floor and their bench. Before the game, Emmanuel Quickly, it was announced that he wasn't going to play. He has a hamstring injury, which is very concerning. With Jamal Shead having to move to the starting lineup, now that kind of removes that spark you have off the bench, and Max Strus decided to have the game of a fucking lifetime. He scored 24 points, which is, a playoff career high for him. And the Cavaliers really needed that. And boy, that is really what I think took down the Raptors, because him scoring all those points, it was grits for the Raptors after that. And next you have the series that everybody has been talking about. This is the talk of the town for the entire leading up to the first round of the playoffs. Nuggets versus the Timberwolves. Now here's the thing. Rudy Gobert has about as good of a game as you can expect. The Nuggets don't play their best basketball either. They didn't have a bad game, but they didn't play their best basketball either. And the Timberwolves lost. Now, I'll say, Anthony Edwards looks like he is still trying to adjust and coming back from his injury. You know, that's one thing I mentioned in my preview video. Like, Anthony Edwards, he's come back from injury. He's just starting to get right. The Timberwolves didn't finish off the regular season well, and Nuggets finished off with like a 12-game win streak.
My God, Lord have mercy.
So you have all that momentum going into the playoffs, and the Timberwolves don't have any momentum going to the playoffs. It gets kind of scary. In this first game, you kind of saw where it's like, yeah, it was a close game. Don't get me wrong, it was a close game all throughout the entire game. But like, if Anthony Edwards is going to give you all this production and Rudy Gobert is going to give you this great game, you have to take advantage of moments like this. Nikola Jokic puts up 25, 13, and 11. And I know it sounds crazy what I'm about to say, but this isn't his best shit. This is not the best that he can do, right? Nikola Jokic is going to have better games. So you need to figure out how to take advantage of this. And hopefully Anthony Edwards looks better next game. He was smiling after the last game. So, like, you know, we just hope that he looks better, like, throughout the series, which I anticipate he will. He's Anthony Edwards, you know what I'm saying? Believe that. Believe that. But I hope that the Timberwolves can just figure it out. Because right now, if Anthony Edwards isn't out there, he's not, like, really, like, being able to perform and carry this team, I guess you could say. It's kind of like the Cade thing with Detroit. I don't know how much value or how much I trust the Timberwolves to be able to win. But hopefully they can bounce back, especially when they come home. Who knows what they need. But the Nuggets play really well. Jamal Murray played really well. It was a very physical game. You could definitely tell that these are two teams who have competed a lot throughout the past couple of years. And they're both trying to get to the conference finals. To try to take down the OKC Thunder, because they've both faltered and fell to the OKC Thunder in the past years. Next game, Knicks versus the Hawks. This game really was like where Karl-Anthony Towns, he scored 19 of his 25 points after halftime. Jalen Brunson scored a lot, you know, and it was clear that the Atlanta Hawks, they just really, I ain't gonna say they weren't able to deal with it, but like, you just saw the Knicks kind of just be a better team. There were a lot of things that, you know, the Hawks would try to cheat over more so to Jalen Brunson and try to cheat off of whoever they are to just cover Karl-Anthony Towns. It was clear nobody could guard Karl-Anthony Towns. And I think in the second half, he realized, like, hey, I'm Karl-Anthony Towns. Nobody out here can fuck with me.
I'm him. I've been him. I will continue to be him.
And I think he finally realized that in the second half, which is why he scored 19 points in the second half. But the thing about the Hawks is, also the Knicks played very great on defense. Josh Hart, you know, defensive mind, the energy, all the shit, he gave them a lot of stuff. The thing about the Knicks is, what they need to realize is this is a Hawks team to where if you play lackadaisical, you try to sit up here and shake ass, you know, la-di-da, the Hawks can and will shock you. And they have the ability to beat you. Don't look at the numbers. Don't look at the fact that you are better than them statistically, you know, record-wise. No. The Hawks, between Jalen Johnson, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, all of those guys, they have the ability to sit up here and take y'all down. Y'all won this game, but Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, they need to lock in throughout the entire duration of the game if they want to win. I think the Knicks, they have stepped up a lot on defense, offensively. I would like to see Cat and Jalen Brunson, when they survey the floor, kind of just look for their teammates, you know? When you're Karl-Anthony Towns and you're Jalen Brunson, you have a lot of gravity just naturally with how great you are. Use some of that gravity to create, you know, advantages for your team. You know, Deuce McBride, Josh Hart might surprise you with 3. That's all I'm saying. But they played a great game. And then the final game on Saturday, The Lakers versus the Rockets. Now, it came out earlier in the day that Kevin Durant was not going to play in this game. He was not going to play. He had bumped knees, I think, with like Reed Shepherd. And I mean, I bumped knees before. That shit hurts. Hurts for a couple hours. It hurts for a while. Kevin Durant is 35, you know what I'm saying? That boy old. That boy old. He aged. He And so that knee bump, whenever it happened, clearly took a toll on him, and he didn't even get to play. But even then, you have Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith, Amen Thompson. I mean, the Lakers are missing Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. So the Lakers don't have two of their best three players out there on the floor, and you are just missing your top dog, and you lose 107-98 to the Lakers. In the game where LeBron James, 19 points, 13 assists. I think he was like short by like 2 or 3 rebounds for a triple-double, but he looked like the best player on the floor. 41-year-old LeBron James, my glorious king LeBron James, is still out here looking like the best player on the floor in a playoff game. I think it speaks to how great of a coach that JJ Redick is and how great the Lakers played overall. DeAndre Ayton played amazing. Rui Hachimura played amazing. The Lakers shot amazing from the field. They took just 66 shots, made 60% of them. Luke Kennard had 27 points, shot 5 for 5 from 3. He was amazing. LeBron James, like I said, he was controlling the traffic in a way where it's like just not making mistakes, using all the advantages to defense that the defense gives you, taking advantage of all of that different type of stuff. And that allowed for the Lakers to be able to look in control for this game for the most part, versus on the Rockets on the other end, wasn't a good Amen Thompson game. Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith, they didn't really look, all that convincing. And this is kind of concerning because the Rockets have looked good without Kevin Durant. But, like, this Lakers team honestly should not be able to compete with you guys. I get it, though, because the Rockets are, like, Kenny had made a great point. Like, in terms of last year, they had Fred, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams. They had all those guys. They don't have any of their starters. They only have, like, a couple of their starters from last year. This is like a new team, essentially. Like, this is a new team, and because of all of them having to adjust everything, you get losses like this. And I don't think this is just on them, though. I told y'all in that video, bro, Ime has to fix some of the shit that he has going on. Offensively, there's no reason you should lose to the Lakers. I think he got outcoached. That's part of the reason why they lost. And yeah, bro, this is a bad loss for the Rockets. Hopefully they can lock in, though. You got game 2, game 3, game 4 when you go back to Houston to be able to do some type of stuff. Kevin Durant, I'm sure he'll come back at some point in the series, and, then they'll be able to take care of business. But I don't know. Because LeBron James give you 19 points, 13 assists. He doesn't have to do too much extend himself. If LeBron James ain't got to overexert himself, then the Rockets are going to be in trouble. But we just have to wait and see what happens. Now, this first weekend of the playoff, like I said, it was pretty impressive. What was the thing that surprised you the most? Was it Orlando? I think for me, it has to be Orlando beating Detroit. But if you have something different, let me know down below. If your favorite team is in the playoffs, what are some things that you saw throughout these first couple of game ones that you're concerned about or that you're excited about? Let me know all of that down below in the comments. We are going to keep going. We're going to add some reactions in throughout the playoffs, so make sure you like the video, comment on the video if you have anything to say, subscribe to the channel, and that's all I got. Until next time, peace.